He slammed his hand on the table, the sound cracking through the quiet cafe like a gunshot. My iced coffee jumped, sloshing precariously close to the rim. "A guy," he hissed, his voice a low, furious growl that vibrated through the wood. "You have got to be kidding me. I Euros trade am not into dudes." This was it. The moment I Euros trade D been waiting for, the critical junction where my life was supposed to splinter into 1,000 tragic pieces. But I had a plan. I wasn't going to let that happen. My name is Evan, and to put it bluntly, my existence is a cosmic joke. I woke up one day not in my own bed, not in my own world, but inside the pages of a boy love novel. A copyright-ridden campus romance, of all things. And the universe, in its infinite cruelty, didn't even cast me as the resilient, plucky hero or the alluring, enigmatic love interest. No, I was given the role of the story Euros trade's most pathetic villain, the cannon fodder. The idiotic scammer who catfishes one of the Universitaire Euros trade's untouchable heartthrobs Euros, a man named Hugh Euros, into a sham online relationship, only to be spectacularly ruined for my efforts. My pre-written destiny was a checklist of horrors: a public humiliation, complete financial ruin, expulsion from the prestigious elite academy, and for the grand finale, a fatal car accident on some deserted road, my body left to rot. It was a charming narrative, wasn't it? And today was the day the first domino was meant to fall. My very first in-person meeting with Hugh, the man whose digital persona I had been entangled with for weeks. It all started with my best friend, Floyd, a loud-mouthed walking disaster with an unhealthy obsession with my romantic life. He had shoved Hugh Euros trade's contact information at me, swearing on his life that this guy was the total package: of devastating looks, a chiseled body, and, in Floyd Euros trade's own eloquent phrasing, impressive equipment. I never asked for the specifics, but Floyd has a pathological inability to keep details to himself. Long story short, I added Hugh on WhatsApp. We started talking, the chemistry was instant, and before I knew it, we had slipped into the comfortable label of online boyfriends. I had never once claimed to be a woman, and my profile was littered with pictures of my very masculine face. I just assumed he knew. It turns out, my assumption was catastrophically wrong. So here I was, in this coffee shop, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird, waiting for the man who was supposed to be my downfall to walk through the door. But I was ready. My counterplot was simple: break up with him. Right here, right now. Before the scamming, before the obsessive clinging, before the fiery car crash. I would make a clean break, apologize for the misunderstanding, and walk away to live a new, unscripted life. I could do this. The bell above the cafe door chimed, and my breath caught in my throat. There he was, Hugh. His hair was the color of dark wine, catching the light as he moved. His jawline was sharp enough to cut glass, and his eyes were the color of a gathering storm, promising destruction. He was wrapped in a black leather jacket that screamed effortless confidence and a dangerous edge. He scanned the room, his gaze sweeping over the patrons, and I raised a hesitant hand. Our eyes met, and for a heart-stopping second, the air left my lungs. He was handsome, but that word was an insult to what he was. It was an unfair, almost violent level of attractiveness. No wonder the novel had painted him as a campus deity. He strode towards my table with a predatory Euros trade-esque grace, but as he drew closer, his expression began to curdle. The confident swagger dissolved, replaced first by confusion, and then by something much colder, much sharper. Farter Euros trade s when his hand came crashing down on the table. Split. We Euros trade redone, he snapped, already pushing himself up from his chair. There is no way I Euros trade am dating a guy. I nodded quickly, a wave of relief washing over me. This was my chance, my easy way out. Yeah, okay. Cool. Letter Euros trade s just a Euros, but he stopped. He froze mid-motion, his eyes narrowing as he truly, properly looked at me for the first time. I squirmed under the intensity of his gaze, feeling like an insect pinned under a microscope. His eyes traced the lines of my face, lingered on my perpetually messy brown hair, and settled on my nervous, apologetic smile. I Euros trade am not a bad-looking guy, but I was no match for the chiseled perfection of a novel protagonist. Yet, something in my appearance made him hesitate. Slowly, as if the weight of a monumental decision was pressing down on him, he sank back into his chair. His entire posture seemed to shift, his mind whirring. "Hold up," he said, his voice softer now, laced with a grudging reluctance. I Euros trade am not the kind of guy who bails on a commitment. I don't Euros trade t do things half-assed. I stared at him, my mouth slightly agape. I blinked. Once, twice. You were Euros what? He leaned back, crossing his arms over his broad chest, the cool, collected mask slipping back into place. I said I'd Euros trade d be your boyfriend. I'd Euros trade am not backing out just because you are Euros trade re. You know Euros. He made a vague, dismissive gesture in my direction, as if a circumflex Euros do a Euros trade were some minor, inconvenient personality flaw. I was utterly dumbfounded. This was a complete deviation from the script. The book was explicit. He was supposed to dump me on the spot. I was then supposed to spiral into a state of obsessive, clingy psychosis, which would trigger the cascade of events leading to my demise. I was actively trying to prevent that narrative, not sign up for a second season. Hugh, listen, I pleaded, trying to regain control of the situation. Eater Euros trade s really fine. We can just call it quits. No harm, no foul. His jaw tightened, a muscle flexing in his cheek. He leaned forward, planting his elbows on the table, his presence suddenly overwhelming. Are you trying to dump me? His tone was laced with an edge of pure, undiluted offense, as if I had just insulted his entire ancestry. What? Suddenly I'd Euros trade am not good enough for you. No, Farter Euros trade s not it at all. I waved my hands frantically, panic beginning to bubble in my chest. I just thought Euros. You said you are Euros trade re not into guys. So are Euros. I said I'd Euros trade am not a quitter. He cut in, his voice firm, leaving no room for argument. We are doing this. Unless, of course, you are Euros trade v got a better option already lined up. I gaped at him, truly speechless. Was he being serious? The sheer magnitude of this Marna Euros trade s ego could power a small city. My eyes darted around the cafe, searching for any possible distraction, and landed on Floyd. He was lingering by the counter, feigning an intense interest in the pastry display. He was the one who engineered this entire catastrophe, the moron who had conveniently forgotten to mention my gender when he was singing my praises to Hugh. I shot him a desperate look, silently begging for an intervention. He caught my eye and, misinterpreting my plea for a signal of success, jogged over with a grin so wide it looked painful, like he was auditioning for Wingman of the Year. Hey Evan, my man, you two hitting it off. He clapped me enthusiastically on the shoulder, then glanced at Hugh, whose glare was now hot enough to forge steel. You are a bad friend, I muttered under my breath. You didn't Euros trade T tell him I was a die. Floyder Euros trade S award-winning grin faltered. Oh, you were Euros, my bad. I thought you guys would Euros trade V sorted that out online. He laughed, a nervous, high-pitched sound, and scratched the back of his neck. I mean, Hugh, you said you were open to trying new things, right? Hugh Euros trade S glare intensified. Get lost, Floyd. Floyd held up his hands in surrender, already backing away. All right. You two talk it out. Have fun. Love birds. And with that, he bolted, abandoning me to my fate with a very irritated, very determined, and very, very handsome Hugh. The silence that followed was suffocating. I fiddled with a straw in my drink, my mind racing, trying to figure out how to salvage my escape plan. Look, Euros trade, I'm sorry, I said finally, keeping my voice low. I genuinely didn't Euros trade T mean to mislead you. I honestly thought you knew. We can just Euros forget this ever happened. Hugh Euros trade S eyes narrowed again, and for a fleeting moment, I thought he was going to relent. But then he leaned in even closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous, conspiratorial whisper. Forget it. You think Euros trade am the kind of guy who just walks away from something? I swallowed hard, my throat suddenly dry. No, I just Euros you are Euros trade Evan, right? He interrupted again, his gaze unwavering. The guy wore Euros trade S been blowing up my phone with stupid memes and late-night rants about whether pineapple belongs on pizza. I nodded, a hot blush creeping up my neck. Yet Euros thought Euros trade S me. He studied me for a long, silent moment, as if I were a complex puzzle he was determined to solve. Then, completely out of nowhere, a slow smirk spread across his lips. Fine, let Euros trade S get one thing straight. I am not some flake who ghosts people. We are dating. Deal with it. I was paralyzed. This was not the plan. This was the exact opposite of the plan. I was supposed to be initiating a breakup, walking away unscathed, and expertly dodging the Grim Reaper assigned to me by the novella Euros trade S author. But here was Hugh, sitting across from me, looking smug and resolute as if he had just declared war on my carefully constructed strategy for survival. And the most infuriating part of it all, he was ridiculously, unfairly attractive when he was being this stubborn. You were Euros okay, I mumbled, because what else was there to say? My brain was screaming, a circumflex Euros abort mission. A circumflex Euros trade, but my mouth seemed to be staging a mutiny. Sword Euros we Euros trade still a thing? Damn right we are. He picked up his own coffee, took a deliberate sip, and eyed me over the rim of the cup. Are you going to order something? Or are you just going to sit there looking like a kicked puppy? I fumbled for the menu, my mind a chaotic whirlwind. This man was supposed to be my express ticket to doom, but he was acting like we were in this for the long haul, and the way he was looking at me now, with an intensity that made me feel like I was the only person in the room, was doing strange, fluttery things to my chest. I needed a new plan, and I needed it fast. Maybe Euros, maybe I could scare him off. If he wouldn't break up with me, I would have to make him break up with me. I would become the neediest, clingiest, most over-the-top boyfriend imaginable. If he was as straight as the novel claimed, he Euros trade DB running for the hills in no time. Evan, Hugh Euros trade S voice snapped me out of my spiraling thoughts. It was softer now, tinged with something that sounded almost like curiosity. You good? I forced a grin onto my face, the gears of my new plan already turning. Yeah, just Euros overwhelmed by your face. Eater Euros trade S a lot to handle. He snorted, a genuine sound of amusement, and I saw a flicker of something warm in his stormy eyes. Get used to it, he said, his smirk returning in full force. War Euros trade re-stuck with me. The rate. Just great. I was supposed to be dodging a death sentence, not actively flirting with it. But as Hugh leaned back in his chair, looking for all the world like he had just won some unspoken battle, I couldn't Euros trade T help but feel a terrifying premonition. I was already in much, much deeper than I had ever planned. My grand escape had turned into an unwilling enlistment. I was supposed to be breaking up with him, sidestepping the novel's grim finale where I end up destitute, disgraced, and decorating the asphalt of a lonely highway. Instead, I found myself walking back to my dorm room with him by my side, the sleeve of his leather jacket brushing against my arm, his presence an inescapable, suffocating heatwave. The coffee shop disaster had been yesterday, and by some twisted logic I couldn't comprehend, we were still a couple. Hugh Euros trade S stubborn, pride-fueled refusal to dump me had utterly demolished my escape strategy. I needed a new one, a plan so effective it would make him sprint in the opposite direction. The deal was this: I had never lied. My friend Floyd, in a drunken fit of matchmaking, had forced Hugh Euros trade S contact on me one night when I was lamenting my single status. This guy's a perfect 10, Floyd had slurred, shoving a phone with Hugh's profile picture in my face. And he wasn't wrong. Tall, ripped, a total campus legend. We had connected instantly online, our chats filled with dumb inside jokes and late-night debates. I simply assumed he knew I was a guy. My WhatsApp profile was a collage of gym selfies and rants about video games. But apparently Hugh had missed every single clue, and now he was doubling down, acting as if we were destined to be some campus power couple. We were halfway to my dorm, and the silence between us was becoming a physical weight. Hugh radiated this intense aura, a silent challenge to the world to even think about messing with him. His dark red hair seemed to capture and hold the glow of the streetlights, and I had to physically restrain myself from staring. My brain was a frantic mantra of a circumflex Euros stick to the plan. A circumflex Euros trade. I had to channel the original Evan from the novel. Hugh was supposed to be straight, wasn't he? Or at least, he believed he was, until the story Euros trade's true protagonist, a boy named Liam, was set to appear later on. If I could just make him deeply uncomfortable, lean into the role of the clingy, needy, emotionally demanding boyfriend, he would have to bail. Straight guys hated that kind of thing, right? It was practically their kryptonite. So, Hugh, I began, forcing a lightness into my voice that I didn't feel. You are Euros trade rare Euros, you are Euros trade really cool with this. With that Euros us. He glanced down at me, one perfect eyebrow arched in question. You keep asking that. What, you think I Euros trade am going to bolt? No, just checking, I said, shrugging with feigned nonchalance. I mean, you were pretty shocked yesterday. He snorted, shoving his hands into the pockets of his jeans. Yeah, well, I don't Euros trade T make promises I can't Euros trade T keep. We Euros trade redoing this, Evan. Stop overthinking it. His confidence was as infuriating as it was attractive. Damn it. I needed to apply more pressure. Okay, cool. Eater Euros trade S just Euros you are Euros trade re so freaking gorgeous. Eater Euros trade S distracting. I got all shy yesterday, you know. I tacked on a flirty grin, testing the waters. Hugh stopped walking, turning to face me fully under the amber glow of a lamppost. His eyes narrowed, but I saw a definite twitch at the corner of his mouth, a ghost of a smile he was fighting to suppress. Shy, huh? You didn't Euros trade T seem very shy when you were spamming my phone with pizza memes at 2 in the morning. I laughed, though the sound was strained. Yeah, well, you are Euros trade more intimidating in person. That face should come with a government-issued label. He smirked, a genuine, heart-stopping smirk this time, and took a small step closer. War Euros trade LL survive. Probably. My heart performed a stupid, acrobatic flip in my chest. This was not the desired reaction. He was supposed to be recoiling, not flirting back. We resumed walking, and I was hyper-aware of his proximity, of his arm brushing against mine with every other step. By the time we arrived at the entrance to my dorm building, I was a bundle of frayed nerves. He stopped, leaning against the brick wall with a casual grace that made him look like he owned the entire campus. "Catch you tomorrow," he said, his voice low and intimate, as if he were sharing a secret meant only for me. His eyes lingered for a moment too long, and I could have sworn I felt the heat of his gaze on my back as I pushed through the doors and headed inside. I collapsed onto my bed, staring up at the sterile white ceiling. The dorms at Elite Academy were luxurious Euros, spacious and private, a benefit of having an absentee roommate who was perpetually off campus. But in that moment, it felt less like a sanctuary and more like a gilded cage. I was supposed to be freed of Hugh, not trapped in this bizarre pantomime of a relationship. It was time for Plan B to go into full effect. I would be so annoyingly clingy that he couldn't Euros trade T possibly stand it. If the novel was right about his sexuality, he would crack within days. I grabbed my phone, my fingers flying across the screen as I composed my first assault. A circumflex Euros, hey, you make it home okay. Miss you already, handsome. A circumflex Euros trade. I physically cringed at the syrupy tone, but it was perfect. Over the top, desperately clingier Euros, everything a straight guy was supposed to hate. My phone buzzed with a reply almost instantly. A circumflex Euros just got in. You are Euros trade quick to miss me, huh? A circumflex Euros trade. There was no trace of irritation, no brush off, just a calm, almost teasing response. I frowned, typing back with renewed vigor. A circumflex Euros, yeah. Well, you are Euros trade too hot to forget. Got me all nervous today, you know that. A circumflex Euros trade. I added a winking emoji for maximum effect. His reply came just as fast. A circumflex Euros, nervous. You seemed fine to me. Maybe I like you nervous. A circumflex Euros trade. He ended it with a smirking emoji, and I nearly hurled my phone against the wall. Was he actively flirting with me? This man was supposed to be disgusted, not intrigued. I flopped back onto my pillows, groaning in frustration. Clearly, text messages weren't enough. I needed to up the ante. I needed to introduce physical affection. Things like holding hands, being overly touchy-feely in public. That would surely be the final straw. That had to freak him out. I sent one last message, doubling down on the cringe. A circumflex Euros, bet you are Euros trade rethinking about me right now, ha hotshot. A circumflex Euros trade. I was laying it on so thick, I expected to be blocked immediately. Instead, his reply materialized on my screen. A circumflex Euros, maybe I am. Night, Evan. A circumflex Euros trade. No emoji this time, just his words, and somehow they hit with more force than any winking face ever could. I stared at the message, my stomach twisting into complicated knots. This was bad. This was very, very bad. I was supposed to be pushing him away, not getting butterflies from his cryptic goodnight texts. My phone buzzed again, startling me. It was Floyd. "Hey, circumflex euros yo. How are euros trade it going with Mr. Perfect? Spill the tea." "A circumflex euros trade," I sighed, typing back a frustrated summary. "A circumflex euros he euros trade s not dumping me. Ir euros trade am trying to be annoying, but he euros trade s not getting annoyed." A circumflex euros trade. I deliberately omitted the part where I was secretly freaking out over how much I liked his stupid, infuriating smirk. Floyder euros trade s response was immediate. "A circumflex euros elmao you are euros trade re-screwed. Duty euros trade s into you. Bet he euros trade s not even that straight. Keep me posted, demon." A circumflex euros trade. I rolled my eyes. Floyd was no help at all. He was the architect of this entire mess, hyping up Hugh like he was some kind of modern-day Adonis. I scrolled through my old chats with Hugh, trying to pinpoint where it all went wrong. We had clicked so effortlessly online, bantering about music, movies, and the fundamental injustice of pineapple on pizza. It does na euros trade t belong there. He'd is objectively wrong. I had never hidden my identity, but maybe he had just filtered out all the evidence. His brain automatically assuming I was a girl because euros well, who could possibly understand the logic of a straight guy? I set my phone down, my mind spinning. The plot of the novel was a dark cloud hanging over me. In that story, I was the villain who clung desperately to Hugh, made a public spectacle of myself, and was ultimately crushed under the weight of my own foolishness. But right now, Hugh wasn't acting like a man who wanted to ditch me. He was acting like he was genuinely interested, and that was far more dangerous. If I let this charade go on for too long, I was risking the full, catastrophic ending. I had to stick to the plan. I had to become the most obnoxious boyfriend in the history of the world until he had no choice but to bail. But as I drifted off to sleep, the image of Hugh euros trade s infuriating, handsome smirk flashed in my mind, and I had the sinking feeling that I was fighting the wrong battle. Maybe the challenge wasn't escaping him. Maybe it was about surviving myself.